a lovely book called In Love at Ease. It is about everyday spirituality with Pramukh Swami Maharaj. He was a spiritual teacher to many, many people. In fact, millions of people consider him their guru, which is quite phenomenal. And we've discussed a lot about his generous contributions to society, spirituality, and some wonderful endeavors that he's been up to. Right now we are into the second chapter, which is called In Love. I'm just going to read the last paragraph where we ended, and we'll continue for the next few pages. Swami Shri, which is a term of endearment for Pramukh Swami Maharaj. Swami Shri's love was sacred to millions. It gave them renewed hope to continue their pursuit of spirituality in this world and to the next. Swami Shri's love fills the pages of this chapter. Out of respect for the profound relationship between the Guru and the subjects of his love, I reflect and observe in silence. Here, I let these quote-unquote love stories speak for themselves. And hello, hey tonight. Swami Shri's love for the world and all who inhabit it was selfless and unconditional because he loved and was inspired by the divine within them. From a 5-year-old child in Flushing, New York, to the ailing cattle that moved him to tears during the Gujarat famine in 1987, or his insistence on protecting the earth by planting trees and conserving water. Swami Shri viewed it all as God's creation, and subsequently as divine through association. Circumstances, reactions, or difficulties could not change his state of love. It was this divya drishti, seeing the divine in all, that enabled him to stay in love. These love stories may seem worldly or quotidian. Never heard of this word before. Quotidian. But they exemplify a bhakti, a loving devotion towards humility and nature that can only come from a place of spiritual transcendence. Though they are expressed in worldly terms, their connotation is highly spiritual. Swami Shri did not love them, rather he loved the divine within them. This small yet pivotal distinction in his perception of love and creation allowed him to adore and provide in a way that was both acute and removed. The following section highlights lessons of love from the world from Swami Shri's life. Love of the world from Swami Shri's life. Lessons that infuse spirituality into our interactions with those around us. And hello, Ragnhildur. Swami Shri's love was timely. He knew exactly when to provide comfort to those in pain, and in a way that was healing. In the summer of 1992, several young high school and college graduates from around the world left behind their homes and families to train at the community's sadhu, which is a kind of monk training center in Sarangpur, Gujarat, for a life of service to society. Rural Gujarat was a far cry from America and England at the time, in more ways than one. In the 1990s, air conditioning, filtered water, and snack items, which were common in America and England, were rare in India. especially in villages. It was only natural that several of the young graduates quickly felt homesick. One of these 18-year-old graduates, Nilay, was particularly missing home and the affection of his parents. He was the youngest among those traveling from America for training. He arrived in India and was overwhelmed by the juxtaposition of wealth and poverty, plus the staggering sensory overstimulation. The sights, the sounds, and the smells of rural India were just too much for a boy raised in suburban Texas. His longing for home really hit him hard when he boarded a local bus to travel from Ahmedabad to Gondal in Saurashtra. After a few days in Gondal, young Nilay decided to return home to America. He was not used to living away from home, let alone in a village, amidst a culture whose mannerisms were so different from his own. He felt alone and apprehensive without his parents. He spoke to one of Swami Shri's personal attendants about going back. The attendant arranged for the young man to meet Swami Shri after his afternoon yoga and meditation routine. And hello, Selina and Michelle. Though Swami Shri had an extremely hectic schedule, he moved things around to meet Nilay on that very afternoon. The Guru knew that young Nilay needed love now, not tomorrow. Nilay sat in the room feeling this energy exuding from the spiritual master. It settled his mind and racing heart. For just a moment, all of his fears of the unknown left him. India, the sensory overload, and the lack of familiarity suddenly seemed manageable. Swami Shri gestured the young boy closer to his seat. Swami Shri traced both of his hands down young Nilay's hair, temples, eyes, cheeks, and chin. Nilay's eyes filled with tears. Swami Shri wiped them off with his saffron garment. That moment of silence was all the young graduate needed. After a few minutes, Swami Shri broke the silence. It can be overwhelming to travel with me if you've never been to India. It is not always the most comfortable, and it is a culture shock since you were born and raised abroad. Why don't you go to the training center and Mandir temple in Sarangpur? I will be there in 2 weeks. We will spend time together and get you settled in. I will reach out to the sadhus there and make sure they do their best to make you feel at home. In the meantime, remember, I am always here. Come sit with me, speak to me, share your worries and concerns. Kaivalya Murtidas Swami reflects on how Swami Shri immediately recognized and gave his younger self exactly what he needed, even though he himself was unsure of his own needs. That Vatsalya, motherly love, and soothing touch calmed much of Nilay's anxiety. For the next 30 days, Swami Shri smiled at, gently quipped in broken English with, and even fed young Nilay. Not a single day passed without a loving interaction with young Nilay. If it was not for that timely moment and following month of attentive care, the young boy would have never made it as a veteran monk in the order. Over the last 30 years, Kaivalya Murti Das Swami has passed that love on to hundreds of young adults and teenagers as they grapple with difficult moments in life. A lovely little story. let's pause our reading there for now, and we'll pick up this series of love stories with Pramukh Swami Maharaj at another time. So I thank you all for listening with me.